Now let's move forward to number 10. And in this case, we have a problem that is involving what we call a discount. Now, Mr. J. De La Cruz borrowed money from a bank. He received from the bank 1,342 and promised to repay 1,500 at the end of 9 months. Determine the simple interest rate and the corresponding discount rate, or often referred to as the banker's discount. Now for this problem, we don't have to create the cash flow diagram since basic lang naman to, no? We're just given by the amount that is given to him and then the amount that he should be repaying. So if we try to visualize this in terms of cash flow diagram, we know na yung na-receive niya na money would be your present worth, that is 1,342. And then yung F nito would be your future, which is 1,500. So in the viewpoint of Mr. J. De La Cruz, nakakuha siya ng 1,342 and using the discount, then it should increase in a certain future worth. So with this, given we just have to find the simple interest rate, so therefore we could say that F is equal to P plus the interest. And this is actually equal to P and then 1 plus NI. Now, if we will be representing this interest in terms of 9 months, let's say the interest rate per 9 months, we can just simply take the value of I in this case. So, yung N natin magiging 1 yan kasi yung ating consider is interest rate per 9 months. So, of course, kung siya is per year, iba na yan, 9/12 yan. Pero syempre, I will just be considering 9 months here kasi wala naman siyang sinabi, no? But if in the case wherein we need to find a simple interest rate where it is stated here that the interest rate is annual interest rate, then we do N is equal to 9/12. But in this case, since it's not given, again, N could just be 1. That means na isang turnover period lang yung consider ko dito. So with this, we have 1,500. That is equal to 1,342. And then 1 plus I. Therefore, the interest rate, again, this is the interest rate per 9 months, would give us 11.735%. Okay. So this is your interest rate. Now, the next question is, what is your discounted rate of interest, or often referred to as the banker's discount? Now, the easiest way that we can solve for the interest rate of the banker's discount would be that you divide the discount by the future worth. And the discount can always be determined by taking the difference between the future worth and the present worth. So, ganyan lang siya kasimple. And just multiply this to 100%. Okay, so therefore, the banker's discount interest rate would be 1,500 divided by 1,342, and then all over 1,500, of course, times 100%. And this should give you the banker's discount, which is equal to 10.53%. Okay, so this is your final answer for this problem. You have two final answers. Yung una is yung interest rate in 9 months, and then yung banker's discount rate, that is 10.53%. Now again, ulit-ulitin ko ulit, if the interest rate states na you have to take the annual interest rate, then this should be something like P times 1 plus NI, wherein P is 1,342 and then 1 plus 9/12 times I yung magiging ano dito, yung magiging value ng N. But then again, since hindi naman sinabi, so you can just imagine this being your first period within 9 months. Okay. So now let's proceed to the next number. So skip natin yung number 11 kasi this is about inflation. Mamaya natin siya discuss. Then we move forward sa number 12, which is about amortization. Now for this case, again yung annuity, parang kung maisip nyo parang annual yung kanyang pinanggalingan na root word, no? Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin no, na lagi kang every year yung magbabayad ka, no? Pwede siyang kagaya nito every month or every 4 months, pwede rin yun. So in this case, if we know na meron tayong 12 months for 1 year, and therefore we have 12 times 4, which is 48 payments that we should be doing starting from the end of the first month. So let's do the cash flow diagram, and since medyo marami tong arrow down, so we'll just skip some time here. So, pwede kasing ganun yung gawin nyo, no? Instead of you doing all the 48 arrows. Pwede kayong magawa kahit halimbawa mga 4 to 5 lines lang, kahit nga 3 okay lang. Then you do something like that, parang dalawang slash. So, ibig sabihin na nagkaroon ako ng time skip. Siyempre, yung time skip na yun, ibig sabihin lang nun, same lang din yung nangyayari dito sa previous procedure or process. So, kung halimbawa, nagkakaroon tayo ng arrow down, meaning equal payments for this annuity, then that is what is supposed to be expected dito sa ating time skip na to. Then, siguro maglagay ka na lang ng 3 dito or 4 din just to incorporate yung ending ng ating sequences. So, eto, we could label here yung 0 natin, meaning ito yung start ng year na 0. And then, you can also use 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say, for example, this is your first month. Okay? This is the second month, third month, and then fourth month. And then, at the end of this, we know quite well that this should be 48. So, basically, hanggang doon yung payment. So, 4 to 48. Yun yung na-skip dito eh. And then, we can label the interest rate that is 12%. So, this is the nominal rate of interest that is 12%. And then, the compounding rate is actually quarterly. So, that means M is equal to 4. Now, we have to determine the future worth of this 600 deposited at the end of every month for 4 years. Now, the way we can solve for this, remember, kung we have an annuity or any kind of problem na it is written or it is deposited at the present, to be able to find its future worth, we have to take that certain amount and then bring that to the future. Ang future nito is yung after 4 years. So with this, that's the 48th month of your payment. Ang gagawin mo dyan is you take all of this, starting from the first payment, the second payment, and then the third payment, the fourth payment, until you get to this infinity, yung lahat na yon. But for annuities like this, actually you can just take this whole term and then imagine nyo na isa lang yung dinala nyo doon. And basically, ibig sabihin lang nun, lahat na yung from 1 to 48, dinala mo na siya sa future. Kasi annuity lang naman yan. So, we're basically talking about each amount. And then yung each amount naman na yun is basically, parehas lang yan. Mag-iiba lang tayo sa ating time frame. Now, kung i-dissect natin yung mangyayari dito, alam natin na, for example, meron tayong 600 dito, no? Ito yung starting peso natin. And then, dinala natin siya sa future. So, that is 1 plus R over M. Alam naman natin to. And then, tapos M times N. But, we have to make sure na yung ating N dito would be kung ilang years to, taking that to the future. So, ganun. And then, i-add mo ngayon yung 600 mo ulit, pero pabawas tayo ng pabawas ng years. So, ganun yung mangyayari. And that formula is given actually using a shortcut na formula natin, which is na-discuss ko na yun sa module, sa pagdi-discuss ko ng annuity. Na that formula can be solved or can be used using the simple factor natin dun sa ating annuity, which is U given by the annuity, and you need to find your future worth. So, that is F given A, and then at I% and N. So, yun lang yun. And then that should give you the future worth na. So, therefore, yung ating gagamiting formula is F is equal to A, and then, of course, F given A, and then at I% and then N. Okay? But, the question here is, ano ba yung ating rate of percent interest? Kasi, we're doing this every month. Okay, nagbabayad tayo every month. But, yung ating interest rate is kina-compound siya quarterly. So, that basically means na every 3 months siya every 4 months nagkakaroon tayo ng compounding. So, kung halimbawa, every 4 months nangyayari yung compounding natin, meron tayong 3 beses ng compounding within a year. Pero we're paying for every month in this case. So, paano ba natin yun kind of i-convert dun sa actual na interest rate? So, what we'll do is we'll take 1 year as a reference. So, in this case, if I have the interest rate comprising our annuity, so 1 plus yung ating rate of interest. So, we have R over M, and then assuming na meron lang akong 1 year. Ngayon, ang question dito is, ano ba yung gagamitin natin na I% or the interest rate? Yun yung true interest rate natin, no? Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, sabi dito, yung interest rate is 12% compounded quarterly. Now, kung ito'y quarterly compounded, that is, m is equal to 4. Ito na nga yan. So, kung 12 divided by 4, we have 3 compounding periods sa loob ng isang taon. But you're paying for every month. So, hindi tayo magtatali kung gagawin natin is ganon. Kasi, you have to make sure na yung pag nagbabayad ka ng annuity, you're compounding at the same time then. And what you need to do here is to make sure na mahanapin natin yung equivalent interest rate nila, and then that's the one that we'll be using for this I%. So with that being said, let's equate yung ating mga interest rate na concern. So una, if we're talking about dun sa ating compounding interest rate, so we know that that is 1 plus, and then that is your R over M, and then of course MN. So same lang din naman yan, 1 plus. But instead of using R over M, we can just use I here kasi interest rate lang naman ang concern natin dito. And then, you can just simply use your MN as well, no? Pero syempre, itong M and N, magkaiba yan. This is for your, let's say, dun sa ating interest rate. And then, this is for our annuity. So, with this, we have 1 plus. Kung ito unahin natin, we have 0.12. Okay? That's your interest rate compounded quarterly. So, by taking this as your reference, and then 1 year lang tayo magko-consider now. So, n is equal to 1. So, we have 4. Okay? So, this is your conversion in this case. Now, how about this one? So, we have 1 plus I. And then, kung meron kang every month na ginagawa, and then 1 year lang yan. So, basically, meron ka ditong 12 exponent. Kasi, kung mapapansin nyo, this I is actually R over M then. And then, if you have your R, so R compute natin, then divide natin to sa 12. So, that makes sense for having 12 here. Kasi, 1 year lang kina-consider din natin. Walang sense kung R din yung kukunin ko dito kasi at the end of this, kailangan ko din siya i-convert into I. So, di-divide ko rin siya sa 12. So, it doesn't matter anyway. So, you just have to compute for your I in this case. Now, your value of I would be equal to 9.9016 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay, so ito yung ating I. So, expect natin na this came from a nominal interest divided by 12. So, basically, kung tatanungin sa inyo is ano ba yung kanyang annual interest rate, so, multiply lang natin siya sa 12. So, around 0.118 yung kanyang annual interest rate na equivalent. Now, for this case, we can just use the formula. So, we have F is equal to A, quantity 1 plus, 1 plus the interest rate raised to the number of periods and then minus 1 over I. Okay? So, for this case, we have F. Dito na lang natin sulat pa kasi baka hindi magkasya. So, we have 600. And then we have 1 plus, we know that is 9.9016 times 10 to the negative 3. So, this is the equivalent interest rate per a month, every period na compounded na quarterly, 12%. So, with this, ilang best ba natin yung gagawin yung ating paglalagay ng 600 pesos. So, diba, that is 12 times per 1 year, and you have 4 years to last, so we have times 4. And then minus 1 divided by 9.9016 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay, and this would be equal to 36,642.8270. Okay, so this is your final answer for this problem. Now, again, I'm sure dun kayo nalito sa part na paghahanap nitong I. I-reiterate ko lang kung paano to ginagawa, no? So, whenever you have this equation for annuity or any kind of annuities, no, might be ordinary, deferred, you have to make sure na yung compounding rate nyo is equivalent or translated to the number of times you're paying. For example, nagbabayad ako every month. So, dapat yung aking compounding is ganun din siya beses ko i-compound yung interest rate. So, for example, I'm paying annually naman. So, every year ako magbabayad, let's say 1,000. So, you have to make sure na yung offer sa'yo, yung interest rate, is you're compounding that annually as well. If it's semi-annual, then semi-annual din yung ating interest compounding. But in this case kasi, you can see here na every month for 4 years tayo nagko-compound. So, in short, every month ka nagbabayad. And basically, ayun yung dapat susundin natin. Every month din yung ano mo, yung compounding mo. But in this case kasi quarterly siya ginagawa. So for 1 year, instead of having 12 na compounding periods, so you just have 3 kasi quarterly siya ginagawa. So ang gagawin kasi natin pag ganun is we have to convert that in terms of monthly compounding. Parang ganun. So, ang gagawin mo doon, kung monthly compounding siya, convert mo to into its effective rate of interest plus 1. So, parang ganun. So, with this, mako-convert siya sa 1 plus 0.12 divided by the number of compounding periods. Actually, not the number of compounding periods, but kung kailan siya kina-compound, and then raise mo doon sa m value na yun. And then, equate mo lang siya doon sa I nito and then raise to the number of times you will have to deposit, of course, in 1 year. Actually, you can do this for the whole duration. For example, since meron tayong 4 years, you can do times 4 here and then may times 4 pa dyan para you make sure na buong yun. Sakop niya yung buong year. Pero it doesn't matter anyway kasi you can just take 1 year and then convert mo na yung lahat kasi future worth lang naman nahanap natin dito eh. So it doesn't matter anyway kung yung buong duration ng time frame na yun. But just don't forget na kung gaano ka kadalas magbayad nung iyong certain indebtedness, you have to make sure na yung interest rate is being compounded at the same period na nagbabayad ka rin. So, ganun lang yan sa number 12. Okay, so we move forward na sa number 13. A young woman, 22 years old, has just graduated from college. She accepts a good job and desires to establish her own retirement fund. At the end of each year thereafter, she plans to deposit $2,000 in a fund at 15% annual interest. How old will she be when the fund has an accumulated value of 1 million pesos? Now for this case, we have to draw another cash flow diagram, and remember, this is another example of ordinary annuity because this woman is paying at the end of each year. So ito yun, at the end of each year. And we'll be assuming na at the end, on the 23rd year, dun siya start magbayad kasi we can just use 0 kung gusto natin ng time frame na ganun, or we can just 22. Now in this case, kung nalilito kayo, I'll just be using 0 para consistent tayo since the very beginning. So in that case kasi, pag sinet natin ito na 0, pwede saka natin i-adjust yung mga values ito sa ating time. I'll start with 0. And then yung first year na tinapos nito would be the first period or the first time payment na magkakaroon tayo, which is 2,000 yung binabayad niya. So, syempre, arrow down to. Okay? So, kung gagawin niya to, actually, hindi natin alam kung gaano karaming arrows ang ating gagawin dito kasi ang tinatanong kasi is yung kung ilang taon siya mismo, no? So, gawin natin is lagyan ulit natin nung dalawang slash just to indicate na magkakaroon tayo ng time skip kung gaano siya kahaba, no? And then, dito, somewhere here, we need to find your future worth. That would amount to 1 million. So, yun kasi yung importante dito kailangan ma-account natin yung 1 million na makukuha niya at the end of this whole paying scheme. So, with this, we could say na for each of this arrow down, we have 2,000. Okay? And then dito sa ating future worth na ating accumulate would be something like 1 million. Okay? So, basically, yung ating 2,000, ito yung ating A. Okay, na binabayaran niya at the end of every year. And kung makapansin nyo, di ba, dito is 15% annual interest. So, parang dito, sakto. Meron tayong interest rate na kino-compound every year and then nagbabayad ka rin every year. So, wala tayong problema sa paghahanap ng I kasi they are on the same page na dito, no? So, with this, direct lang to, substitution. So, we have A, F is equal to A. So that is 2,000 times 1 plus I, and then yung ating I is 0.15, and then how many times you will be paying this. So that is actually our N. Kasi hindi natin alam yun Yun yung hinahanap natin. And then minus 1 divided by 0.15. And by the way, yung ating F pala dito is 1 million. So that is 1 million. Di kasha. Ulit. That is 1 million pesos. Okay? So this is our equation. Again, dito siya kinuha. F is equal to A multiplied by the factor F given A at I% N. Okay? So, yun. And then, we need to find n. So, you can just use your calculator to find this. Di na kailangan dyang magpakahirap isa-isa, no? Pero okay lang din naman kung gusto niyo ng trail, pero you can just use shift solve for this. The answer for this case would just be equal to 30.9865, no? Or around 31. Okay. So around 31 years, no? Now, this is not the answer yet kasi we started with a zero reference. So, lagi natin tatandaan na for every cash flow diagram na ginagawa natin, we have to make sure na yung ating reference ay nakastate dito. Kasi if ever we started with 22, then we have to expect na yung ating n would be different. I mean, yung n is the same pala, pero we have to incorporate yung 22 plus that amount of n's, and that is what is the secret in this problem. You have to add 22 years para ma-account natin yung final age niya. That is, of course, the age would be equal to 22 plus 31, and this is actually equal to 53 years old. Okay, so when she turned 53, she will be able to obtain this 1 million. So, pwede nyo gawin yon kung meron kayong 2,000 every year. Deposit nyo lang siya at this 15% annual interest rate. Pero good luck sa kung makakita kayo ng 15% annual interest. And then, pwede kayo makakuha ng 1 million after that. Okay, so let me read the problem first. Mr. Reyes borrowed 600,000 at 12% compounded annually, agreeing to repay the loan in 15 equal annual payments. How much of the original principal is still unpaid after he has made the 8th payment? Now, in the viewpoint of Mr. Reyes, we need to do a cash flow diagram. So, start tayo sa zero reference natin, and then nagborrow siya dito ng 600,000. So, kung nagborrow siya, may pera siya. So, that is P is equal to 600,000. Okay? And then, since he's paying this annually, so kung mapansin nyo, 12% compounded annually, this one is also annual payment. So, wala tayong problema. They are on the same page here. So, with this, we need to make sure na we have to incorporate yung ating annual payments ito. So, after 1 year, ito na yung babayaran nila. We use different color para mas maganda. So, we have 1, 2. Actually, walang sinabi kung ilan, no? Kasi, ang importante dito is magawa natin yung 7th payment or 8 payments. Okay, so ilan na ba yun? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then yung 8th payment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So, meron siya 600,000, and then nagbabayad siya nung payments niya dito, and then ang question kasi is how much of the original principal is still unpaid after he has made the 8th payment. Now, in short, we need to compare the values dito na nabayaran niya na and then hindi niya pa nababayaran, no? What we can do here is to pick a reference point, no? And then the easiest reference point that we can always determine here is by taking all of this in the future. Wherein sa 8th payment yun. Kasi imagine, if I try to bring all of this sa future, itong ating, yung mga nabayad mo na, yung payments mo na starting from the first year, going to the 8th payment, dinala natin siya dun sa 8th payment. So, parang itong 1 to 7 lang to the 8th payment, period. And then, itong 600,000, dinala mo rin siya, okay? So, therefore, you will have a difference dito sa point na to, dun sa reference point natin na yan. And that difference would be your unpaid payment, diba? Unpaid payment. Ganun ba? So, unpaid money, no? So, yan. Ito yung point na yan. It is in the future. Now, the question is, bakit natin kailangan dalhin sa future yung ating pera? The reason is that whenever you try to compare any amount of money, no, you have to make sure that you're on the same point of time. Kasi sabi natin before na money is a time value, is a time value problem. So with this, you have to make sure na you're on the same time, at the same, not necessarily on the same place, but on the same time. Kasi kung halimbawa, you try to compare, for example, tinry mong mag-compare dun sa 8th payment, and then kinompare mo yung hinulog mo, which is 600,000. So again, mali na agad yun kasi that 600,000 was way back kung pang ilang taon ba, 8 years ago pa yan. So syempre, yung pera mo na yun, knowing na meron kang meron ka dyan na principal which is this one, lagyan natin yung I natin. I is equal to 12%. So you have to expect na itong utang mo is actually increasing yan. And basically, kung may utang ka na may interest, it is increasing as the time passes by and you're actually paying that price as each time passes by. So, yun yung concept ng annuity. You're actually paying every year, but your payment is already accounted with the additional expenses or additional interest na pinataw dito sa yung original price. So, yun yung concept dito, no? And to do this, we have to make sure now we are on the same point of reference. So, this one is easy. What we have to do is to make sure na we move all of this to the future. And again, kung meron kang single payment going to the future, you just have to incorporate your single payment factor, and for this yung annuity factor. So if you're given with the principal, so that is F given P, and then that's I% and then N. Okay? And then how about this one? So this annuity, di ba, yun naman is just finding your future worth and then giving your annuity and then that I% and then N. Of course, yung N natin is dependent kung gaano ba to karami. So basically, kung meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so meron tayong 8 dito. For this one, since meron din tayong 8 years, so that's basically your 8. So, let us do this. And by the way nga pala, since we have 15 equal annual payments here, so we can just make this, diretso natin to, no? Meron pa tayo ditong 7. So, 1, 2, 3, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Okay. Okay, so with this, let's compute for the value which is F. So F is equal to, I'm talking about this F now. Gawin natin ganito. F1 and then this one is F2. Okay? So your difference would be the principal still unpaid. Okay, so with this F1 is equal to P times your F of P I% N. So that is, kailangan ko ba bang isulat? So, isulat na lang natin F of P then I% N. This is F1 is equal to your principal, that is 600,000. Then you have to expect na increase siya. So that is 1 plus, ano ba yung interest niya? So that is 0.15. Okay? And then, gaano ba karami yung gaano katagal yung natin mararating 8 payments. So that is 8 years. Okay? So that is F1 is equal to, so this gives us your F1, that is around 1 million na yan, no? Yung value niya in the 8th payment. So 1835 and then 413.718 pesos, no? So this is the amount of F1. Now the question is, paano yung F2? Kasi yung F2 naman, you have to use your A, which is hindi rin naman natin alam. Kasi 'di ba? Dapat ganyan yan eh. A and then I% and then N. So supposedly dapat ganyan siya. Pero hindi rin natin alam kung ano yung value ng A natin. So what we have to do is to compute for A first. And to do this, the only way that we can solve for this, for A, is that you try to make these 15 payments equal to the 600,000 by taking your payment na ginawa mo sa lahat, kabuuan, to the present. Pwedeng ganon. Or, you can do this na papunta rin sa future. Pwedeng other way around, pwedeng extend natin to, payments na to the future, and then this one is also to the future. Okay? So with that, makumpute natin yung A natin. Pero, just to show you kung paano siya ginagawa, using present, I'll be doing this using the present worth. So, assuming na nakapagbayad na tayo ng ating 15 equal payments, I'll be bringing this to the present. Okay? Siguro dito ko na lang ilalagay sa medyo babaang part. Okay? I'll be bringing this to the present just to give you an idea na pag in-equate ko to using our present, I'll be able to get your A. So with this, yung P mo is equal to A times your P given A at I%, which is actually 15%, and then your N would be 15 payments. Okay? So with this, actually gawin natin N to. Para kunwari hindi pa natin alam. Then this is equal to A times your P given A, that is I%, and then yung 12 to. Actually, 12% pala, no? Mali pala ako dito kasi 12% pala yun. Sorry. So, 0.12 to, and then mababago to. Okay, so baguhin ko muna to, no? Na yung F1 is equal to 1,485,577.906. Okay, so yun yung atin. Remember, pinalitan ko to, ginawa kong 0.12 kasi ito pala 12% pala, akala ko 15%. Anyway, so 0.12 and then yung N natin is 15. Okay? So with this, we have 600,000. This is equal to A, yung annuity natin, times. So, ano ba yung formula natin if we're using your P given A factor? So, that is 1 minus 1 plus 0.12 raised to negative 15 over the, or you are expected to pay 88,094.5438. So, therefore, Mr. Reyes is expected to pay 88,094.5438 every year. So, yun yung kanyang babayaran. And then, kung meron na siyang nabayaran na 8 payments, so, ano na lang kaya yung tira niya? So, ito yung malimit din na ginagawa na laging mali, no? So, since annuity ito, ang gagawin mo, multiply ito sa 8 kasi yun yung binayad mo na payments, diba? Ganun ginagawa. So, mali din yun. Kasi kung gagawin mo yun, hindi mo dinala yung lahat ng payments mo dun sa future na 8. So, ang gagawin kasi natin is kailangan natin siyang incorporate in a way na dinadala mo talaga siya sa future. Kaya ito yung sense nito nung F2 natin. So, by the way, our F2, lagyan natin ito yung A. A is equal to 88,094.5438. Okay? And then siguro burahin na natin to kasi tapos tayo dito. Okay, so yan, nabura tuloy. So with this, let's continue for our F2. F2 would be equal to 88,094.5438. So kung mapapansin itong problem na medyo complicated siya ng konti, no? Pag hindi mo gets yung cash flow natin. Kasi yung cash flow talaga yung nagde-determine kung anong gagawin natin sa problem. Tsaka itong mga araw-araw na to. So kung bakit naging simple compound interest lang to instead of using annuity. Kasama yun sa mga natin sa cash flow. Anyway, so that is F given A. So with this, we know that this is, kung meron tayong F given A, that is 1 plus I, which is 0.12. Hindi na magkakamali dyan, 0.12. And then raised to 8 payments, and then minus 1 divided by 0.12. Now, yung 8 payments, it is also translated to 8 year, ganun. So, yun lang din naman yun, no? Therefore, your F2 would be equal to, so your F2 is equal to 1,083 and then 535.856. Okay. So, ito yung F1 natin, ito yung F2. Basically, kung mapansin nyo, after 8 payments mo, ganito na technically yung, yung talagang naibayad mo, 1,083,535. Now, hindi yun yung question. Ang question is how much of the original principal is still unpaid after he has made the 8th payment. So with this, yung unpaid would be the difference between these two values. So that is F1 minus F2. And this is equal to 1,485,557.906 minus 1,083 and then 535.856. So therefore, the unpaid dues is still 402,000, okay? And 042, balik-baliktaran lang yun 0505. So this is your unpaid value. So pesos din yan, no? Okay? So this is your final answer, 402,000. Okay, so bigyan ko lang ulit kayo ng fast explanation here. Bakit din natin, siguro question is, bakit din natin minultiply itong 88,000 kasi diba annuity natin to sa 8 and then subtract natin yon. Now, pag ginawa mo yon, kung mapapansin natin, no, try natin gawin. So if you have 88,094.543 and then multiply natin sa 8 and then subtract natin yung 600,000. So basically, bayad ka na pag ganon. Paano nangyari yun kung halimbawa, kapag kinompute mo yun kasi 704,000 yung kakalabasan nun pag tinuliply natin sa 8. So in short, nakapagbayad ka na ng 704,000. Tapos di ka pa rin bayad sa principal. That is true kasi remember, inutang mo siya, meron kang certain interest rate. So, yung 600,000 na yun, nadadagdagan siya na nadadagdagan. And on the 8th payment, actually, hindi na siya 600,000 1 million na yung value ng inutang mo. So, ganun siya kinocompute sa ating annuity, no? And you have to make sure na pag kayo umutang, huwag kayo magreklamo na, di ba, may interest. And then, pag kinompute nyo yung nabayad nyo, let's say, umutang ka na 1,000 pero nakapagbayad ka na ng 500 times kung ilang, nakatatlo ka na, so 1,500 na yon. So, hindi nyo yun kukumpitin ng ganun kasi alam natin na may interest yung inyong inutang. So, basically, as long as this time exists, kung pagtagal ng inyong utang, then pag-increase din yan ng inyong babayaran. So, you have to make sure na you consider first your interest rate and yung period na kailangan mo siyang bayaran. So, ganun lang naman yung ating money. That's just how it works. And then, swerte kayo pag umutang kayo and then walang interest yun. Ibig sabihin nun, you just have to find, halimbawa, wala siyang interest and then you can do annuities like that. So, kung wala siyang interest, you just have to divide yung the number of annuities na gusto mong bayaran and then with the principal na you have and then yun na yung value. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-use ng mga factors natin for annuities and interest rate just to find those values of annuity that you have to pay and of course yung mga kulang mo pang dapat bayaran. And siguro yung explain ko dito is bakit ako nagkaroon ng arrow pabalik dito knowing na I also have arrows here and then ano ba sabihin nito. Now, sa una lang kasi medyo complicated kasi ito pag sa una lang naman, no. Basta you have to understand na ito yung general formula natin dito is unpaid F1 minus F2 pag susubtrakin natin itong dalawa na to. Pero again, kung meron tayong F2 dito, kailangan natin ng value ng annuity which is wala kasi tayong value nun eh. So, kailangan natin itong hanapin, itong annuity na to. And the only way that we can deal with that is to find our annuity using the formula. And then, yung formula naman ito is just, if you take all of this to the future, then yung formula natin using your present worth annuity, no? And the other formula that we can do is, we take this principal to the future, present ata, actually future ata nasabi ko, so present yung tinutukoy ko. We can take this to the future and then dalhin natin to sa future itong mga to. Basta same reference lang. Yun lang naman yung key dyan. Okay? Ang siguro mag-isip kayo, bakit din na lang natin to gawin na isa dito and then pabalikin natin ito dito. And that makes the problem more complicated kasi if you have taken this to this side, okay? So, assuming natin na ginawa mo yun and then dito siya. Basically, pwede naman, actually pwede yun eh. Kaso, it somehow is kind of harder to interpret in that case. Kasi, it will also include yung ating value of A which is still, wala naman tayo. So with that, we can still use that. Pero basically, kung halimbawa, dadalhin ko dito sa F1 and then I'll try to make this something like, I'll bring this, yung nabayad ko na to this 8 and then ibabalik ko to dito. Actually, pwede yon. Pero yun nga, this is easier interpreted using this all of the annuities, bringing it to the present time than using that case. And actually, magbibigay din ako ng ganong case na meron tayong hati-hatian. Unahin muna natin yung mas simple. Okay? So, I think that's all for number 14 and let's proceed to the next. So, for the next numbers, I think I will be discussing muna yung the rest of the topics bago ko start solving yung the rest of the problems. Okay?